Okay, so the Titans barely throw the ball. They just added Julio Jones, and A.J. Brown is super touchdown dependent. Is he really a top 10 receiver? Yes, he is. It's worth noting that the Titans lose Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith during free agency to the Jets and the Patriots, and combined, they had a total of 157 targets last year. So even though Julio Jones is coming to the team and will probably take more than 100 of those targets, some of those will probably still go A.J. Brown's way. Probably about 20 or 30 go towards A.J. Brown. Last season, he only played in 14 games. On a per-game basis, he was averaging 7.6 targets. That would have only ranked 23rd in the league. 5 receptions per game. That would have only ranked 27th. 76.8 yards per game. That would have actually ranked 12th. 0.86 touchdowns per game. That would have ranked 4th in the league. Catch percentage, only 66%. That's pretty low. 51st among all wide receivers. 15.4 yards per reception. Now that's pretty high. That's 12th in the league. And all of this culminating in 15.2 half PPR points per game. That would have ranked 4th in the league. So that's the same as his touchdown number, and that's the main stat that's carrying a lot of his points. So on a 16-game pace, that would have equaled 122 targets for 80 receptions, 1,229 yards, 14 touchdowns, and a total of 243 half PPR points on the season. 14 touchdowns is pretty high, but his touchdown numbers are very reliable. He had 16 touchdowns in his last 20 games, and only 6 of those games came without a touchdown. So he has at least one touchdown in 70% of his games. That's a really high number, but one that you can count on. Other than the touchdowns, though, he had a varying level of consistency. He had 11 games of those 20 that we mentioned with 80 plus receiving yards. A lot of them were more than 100, but 9 games with less than 80 yards. So that's almost like a 50-50 split there. And 9 of those 20 games, he had 5 or more receptions, and 11 of them he had 4 or fewer receptions. So those volume numbers aren't crazy high, so that's not really what you're relying on with A.J. Brown. Right now, his ADP is wide receiver 7 and 23rd overall, and I actually think that that's extremely appropriate for him. I also have him ranked as my wide receiver 7.